Good evening, folks. I think this is the moment we have been waiting for, to know the practical aspect of how to produce fish. So here right now I am about to produce fish. First of all, I would like to say, getting a good broodstock. A particular fish, a female fish, can produce up to 15,000. So now I want to show you how I produce the fish. So, like where I'm standing right now is my hatchery room, and I said, when you want to hatch a fish, you must make sure that you must have a standby generator, which is why you see there is light here. This indicates the presence of sunlight inside the pond for the fish. You know, fish cannot do without sunlight. So here, the light you see here, the bulb light you see here, indicate the presence of sunlight. Secondly, I would like to talk about the broodstock. If you look here closely, this is the female broodstock. This one here, and here is the male broodstock. So I'm about to use them to produce. And how do you get a suitable broodstock for production? The broodstock used for producing fish must attain an age from 9, 10, 11 months, or at least 9, 10, 11 months, or at most a year or more than a year. That is when this broodstock becomes sexually mature for production. So here, as you can see here, these are all my materials I want to use for producing my fish. Here, first of all, we talk about bowl. This is the bowl. Look at it, it is dry. I rag it. It is clean and dry. The reason I say I need a dry bowl is that this is where I am going to strip out my eggs from the female. I will strip out my eggs from the female. The eggs will be in this bowl, and the eggs must not come in contact with water. It must not come, I repeat, eggs must not come in contact with water, because if it comes in contact with water, it means that what you are producing is just useless. Secondly, is my tissue. I use this tissue after dissecting the male to bring out the testes out of the male. I use this tissue to rag the testes, to make that testes free from blood stain. One, you should take note that this testes, which is the sperm, should not get, as in blood should not get in contact with the eggs. It's very important. That's why I have to use this tissue to clean my testes. Another thing again we need to talk about is the feather. You see, this feather is very, very important. I use this feather to mix the eggs with the sperm. After mixing the egg with the sperm, the reason I use this feather, because the feather is not strong and the egg is so fragile. So I use this feather to mix the egg, to prevent the egg from breaking, because the egg is too fragile. That's why I use feather. So it's advisable for you to use feather whenever you are hatching. Another thing we need to talk about is the towel. The towel is very, very important. I use this towel to hypnotize this fish, to make the fish calm down. Most of us have touched live catfish. When you want to grab it, it shakes. It's so slippery. So, but when you use this towel, I use this towel to cover the fish totally. It becomes calm. that if you carry this fish and dissect it, it will not shake. It will not shake and it will not misbehave. It will allow you to do whatever you want to do on him. So that is the reason I use this towel. Another thing we need to talk about is the touch. The touch is very, very important. When I say touch, it's very, very important. I use this touch, one, to check the well-being of my fish. Two, to pick out dirt out of the pond. And three, to use it to monitor the movement of my fish. In fact, the touch for general use is very useful. Maybe just in case maybe there is no light, but it's very important to use touch, because you cannot, when hatching, you cannot do without touch. Another thing, another equipment is socks. This is socks. I call these socks. It's not the normal socks that you see you wear and go to school. This is an air sports or a netted socks. I gave Taylor to sew it for me, and you see at the end of the day, saying is I call this socks because it has an elastic. So what do I use the socks for? I use these socks. I use these socks to put this. I put these socks into the mouth of this pipe to prevent fish from escaping. If you look at this pipe, it has boreholes. The reason why I put this, it has holes. So when I put these socks, it enables the fish not to escape out of this pipe, at the same time to make water to go free, following through the outflow. Meanwhile, the inflow water enters. That's the use of these socks. Prevent fish from escaping and allow water to move freely out of the pump. Another thing we need to talk about is the hormone. Hormone. You see, this hormone is very, very important. You cannot start a fish. You cannot start hatching a fish without the use of this hormone. I use this hormone to inject the female fish. I use it to inject the female fish. After injecting the female fish, I allow the fish to last for at least 10 hours before I strip out its eggs. It's very, very important. Where is this hormone gotten from? It's usually gotten from the male. At the skull of the head. That is the skull of the head of the fish. That is where you get the hormone. So, if you look at it, this hormone has prescription on it, on how to inject the fish. Another thing I need to talk about is the syringe. It's very important. I use this syringe to inject the fish, getting the hormone into the syringe and injecting the fish with the hormone. Another one is what? Salt. Why did I say I use salt? I don't know if you have tested river water or marine water or sea water. If you test the water, how does it taste to you? It tastes salty. So, how? Because it tastes salty, then how do we manage to produce? We try to produce, because the water we are using is a fresh water. What is fresh water? Fresh water is the water you drink, like tap water, borehole, well water. Those are fresh water. But how do you make it a marine water? You add little salt. That is why we call it saline water or marine water, so that the fish can adapt to it. Another thing again, okay, this is my water this is where I mix my water. Make sure that this water, this saline water, is available when hatching. Then we'll talk about what. This is fish feed. I produce it myself. This is fish feed. I call this Artemia. You may decide not to buy your Artemia. You may decide to produce your Artemia. How can you produce Artemia? One, maggot. You can get maggot. How do you get your maggot? Decompose dungs, poultry feed, name it, meat, raw meat, meat that is rotting. All that is where you can get maggot. By the time flies perch on it, it formulates maggot. That when you use the maggot, you bring out, you filter the maggot out, you dry it on the sun, it becomes dry. Then you grind it, then use it to feed your fish, and they grow faster because they are taking natural protein. So what I'm using here is fish. I want to use fish to feed fish because it's proteinous. How did I get this fish? I carried a smoked dried fish and grind it to a powdery form that I'll use to feed my hatchlings. Now let's talk about this. What is inside this bucket? This is stones, shells. This is shell, this is stone. Somebody asked me, why do I use stones and shells? I said, okay. The reason I use stones, shells is because I want to use it to stimulate the environment which I've kept confined, to make it look like a natural environment. Because if, take for instance, if you are being confined in an environment without your own wish, would you like to give birth? You wouldn't. It's just like, and that's animals for you. But when you try to make the place look as if it's a natural environment, they will even think that that is their home in which they will give birth. So I use this, I call this thing substrate, because whenever fish want to lay their eggs, they go to a hidden caves, rocks, a spongy environment that is being safe, that they go there, they mate, and they distribute their egg, in which the male pour out its sperm, and from there the fish hatch. So I use stone when hatching my fish, so that the eggs will hatch good, in a good condition, and hatch more faster. Because with the help of these stones, shells, sometimes I use snails, sometimes I can use sponge. Once I use all those things, like the eggs itself, the hatchlings or the children inside the egg will feel as if it is a natural environment. So therefore I will want to come out of the eggshell. So that's the reason I use these stones. Another thing, another treatment is the mosquito net. The mosquito net. Why do I use mosquito net? The mosquito net is being sewn with pipe. This is a floating pipe. Once I put it inside the water, it floats. And once it floats, I can distribute the eggs on the mosquito net, in which after distributing the eggs on the mosquito net, after 36 hours, that is a day and a half, that eggs hatch, and after hatching, the hatchlings goes through the holes of that mosquito net, while the eggs, which is referred as carcabans, remains on the net. They will throw away the eggs, while the hatchlings move down to the water. Then if you check down into the water, the hatchlings is just like a sand. Then after 3 days of no feeding, in which they feed on their yolk, they rise up and they look for food. That is when you start feeding them. Another thing again we need to talk about is the hose. This is the hose. It is very, very important. it helps you to maintain a good water management practices of fish. Why did I say so? Because I use this hose to bring out dirt out of the fish. Unwanted dirt, unwanted feed. Because the same feed in which you use feeding the fish, when you overfeed them, it kills them. So I make my pond clean by using this hose to bring out the water. To bring out the dirt out of the pond. By putting this one inside here, inside the pond, using this one to suck out. Most of us know how to suck fuel out of car. So I use it to suck it out. But you have to be careful so that the water will not enter into your mouth. If not, you may swallow fish. So you suck it out, you put it inside the bucket. Make sure that the bucket is here. That when you put it here, you use your torch. Remember, I told you the torch is very important. I use torch. It's very important. I use it to flash out to know which dirt I'm picking to make my pond clean. And I can also use this torch to bring out this torch and this to bring out the shooters out of the water. What do I say? What do I call shooters? Shooters are fish found where they are not wanted. Shooters can be a bigger one, can be a smaller one. If the smaller one is found where the bigger ones are, the smaller one is the shooter. If the bigger one is found where the smaller ones are, the bigger one is the shooters. So that is what I call shooter. So another thing we need to talk about is the scale. My brother, the scale is the first thing you need to consider after considering the parent of the fish. Why do I say the scale is the first thing you need to consider after considering the fish? One, the scale, you use the scale to measure the kg of the fish, in which here the prescription is written per kg. Now if you check here, if you look closely here, they wrote okay, I think it should be inside. Okay, look at it. Dosage 0.5 ml per kg of fish. So how do you do it? You measure the weight of the fish and times it by 0.5 to know the actual meal you are injecting to the fish. That's the use of scale. It's very, very important because overdosage may kill the fish. It's very, very important. So what I need to talk about again is my pond. The water management practices. This is how my pond is constructed. Some people, some big men, let's say some big men, or those who, or the people, some people who have the money, like they will have the money to, to start up fish. Some people may have the capital to start up fish farm. Some may not have. For me, like this, I tell you, like seriously, I don't require much capital to start a fish farm. I don't think I require much capital. It's just a simple logic. It's just a simple logic. Some people, like in a big man farm and all those kind of things, some people will say they use aerator machine. Aerator. What is the use of aerator? Aerator is to provide oxygen in water. When the machine brings out bubble in which the water becomes cold, a normal cold to maintain a constant temperature. So, but me, I use the flow-through system. I use the flow-through system, the manual system in which I make oxygen available for them. And the water, the temperature of the water is maintained. How do I do that? I consulted this thing myself. As you can see, I consulted this thing myself. This is my inflow. I call this inflow. It comes out from the source of water. Inflow. This is where my water enters. Here is my outflow. This is my outflow. This is where I say I normally put my socks here to prevent the fish from escaping. So from where the outflow is connected inside, I wear my socks like this straight inside here, then put it at the hole. At the hole to where it is. When I put it at the hole, I put it at the hole. I call this overflow. Inflow, overflow inside here, and outflow. So why I say overflow is because that overflow, once the water, you forgot, you forgot that you are supposed to off your tank, or you mistakenly forgot. When you reach a stage that the water is supposed to stop, it will just go out. Rather than to just waste the water, it will just go out and pour out at the gutter. So that's the reason of this. So, but at the same time, if the fish want to escape, the help of the source will prevent it from escaping. Because the reason for this overflow, if, take for instance, I go out, I forgot that I on the tap, because most of us can forget things. That maybe we forgot that we on something, I will. Even when you are cooking food, you forget what you are going, and maybe your food got burned. Most of us are, nobody can tell me that since he has cooked food, he has not burned his food in the stove. It's the same thing. You can forget something. You can easily forget something. You never can tell. So the help of this overflow, once the water reach at the top, instead of the water to go out of the pond, so that to go out of the pond, so that the fish will escape out of the pond, out of the surface of the pond. Instead, the water, once it reach up, it enters inside here, and with the help of these socks, this fish cannot escape. Rather, the water will go out through the outflow. So it will be water going out through the outflow, not the fish escaping. That's the use of this. It's very, very important. When constructing a pond, you put this. This is how the inflows work. What did you see here? These are droplets of water. You can set it. You set it in the sense that it drops little by little, little by little. It drops like raindrop. Look at it. That the amount of water dropping is equal to the amount of water. Look at it. You see the water going out, going out. In that sense, the amount of water dropping and the amount of water going makes the pond, or the environment of the pond, that is the water management practices, as in to make it to be in a constant temperature, in the sense that the water is not too cold, it's not too hot, it's just maintained. So that is why I call it flow through system. I don't use aerator. You can use aerator, those people who have the money. You understand? It's just a simple logic. Like one of the contracts in which I got in Calabar, I went there, I went to go and produce. The person wanted to, he said he doesn't have how to do the day. I said, don't worry, we'll be able to find something to do. Where I consulted the hatchery, it was just a small, look at the height of my pond. I won't call it a pond because it was a batten. I used a batten, a plywood, then use a tarpaulin. And this is the height, like this. The height was just like this. So, how did I make my water stable? I make it like a form of raindrop. The thing was dropping on the water. So some people will say, okay, since I constructed something like a batten, or like a flat something like this, like a board. Look at this board here. I constructed it like a board, then covered it with tarpaulin. So now somebody will now ask me, how will I make the water escape so that the amount of water entry will be equal to the amount of going out? And it's just a simple logic. It's just, I don't need much money to say I want to buy this. If I don't have this particular thing, I will not start my business. No, I got a cup or something like a bowl, or not. I won't say a bowl, or something like a container that has a cover. I opened the cover. I nailed each punch. I gave it a big hole like this. Then I now covered the mouth with net. The reason I covered the mouth with net is just like wearing it like a socks, like the one I showed you here, that I wore socks here. In this, I prevent the fish from escaping. Then put it here. Then make a big hole to the size of this tube. These holes. Putting it like this, turning it upside down like this, on top of the batting this thing I constructed. On top of it, covered. Now, how can the water enter through here? Because I covered it with net and it has holes punched down. The water entered there, preventing the fish from entering. Then I suck it out. The water started dropping outside with the help of these hose, in which the hose is being inserted inside here. So it goes out totally. So I think in my next another most important thing I forgot to talk about is the watch. The watch is very important. Yeah, I did not take my watch with me, but I can use my phone. You can use your phone by timing yourself. Whenever some people say they try it, they fail, they try it, they fail, they try it, they fail, they try it, they fail. Okay, this is a watch. You can use your watch or you can use your phone. Some people say they try, they fail, they try, they fail, they try, they fail. I won't lie to you. It's my field. That is what I studied in school. Fishery and aquaculture. I'm an etiologist. It's my field. I've been posted here as a copper in Abia State. So, some people say they try, they fail, they try, they fail, they try. The true aspect of it is that you do something, you have to time yourself. Time is very, very important. The secret of my work is time. The time of injection fish, the time of stripping, the time of hatching, and the time of feeding. When I will start feeding them. When I will start feeding them will help me, because of the time, will help me to know when they are hungry. Will help me to know when they are hungry, so that I will start feeding them. Some people may just hatch, they just feed, they just start feeding them immediately. And before you know, they don't survive. Ever since I've been hatching, I hatched 98%. 98. A particular fish can produce up to 15,000 of fish. So stay tuned. Continue to get more tips of my video. Subscribe to my channel, Highset27. That is my channel at YouTube. So thank you so much.